welcome to the Box Office Dynasty. We are your hosts. I'm Jack.
I'm Josh.
And I am very excited for this episode. It's going to be nice and fun, nice and chill. How you doing, Josh?
I'm pretty good. I hope you guys can't hear my fan. I don't know if that's like picking up. I turned off the AC because I was like, that's definitely going to pick up on the
You're going to be
on the
sweating your
microphone.
ass off, dude.
That was you a couple weeks ago, man. I was listening back to one of our episodes, and you were talking about how you were like getting a puddle of swamp ass, and I was like, Jack, turn on a fucking air or something, like. But like, I turned mine off because this is a small room, and I was like, that's definitely gonna pick up, and I don't want that noise. I was like, the fan's pretty quiet, so I don't think it's gonna pick it up.
And
but
it's like hot as shit out. I mean, at least it was. It's like 80 degrees now, but it was so hot
man.
today.
I don't know. Maybe by you it is. My phone is still telling me a toasty 93 right now.
Dude, it's 79 where I'm at.
Are you serious? Well, you're out on the island, so I guess it's windier, but that's like a pretty significant difference even for that.
I was golfing today, like for 3 hours, and it was the hottest. It was so brutal and so hot, dude. I was getting like third-degree burns from just standing out there.
Yeah, dude, it's actually really fucked up because today's high in May, mind you, 96 degrees, tomorrow 91, and then Thursday it drops down to 65. Like,
that's beautiful. 65 is crisp. I like that.
It is, but it's going to be such a shock on the body, and it's like such unpredictable weather right now, you know what I mean?
Look how grown we are talking about the weather.
We talk about the weather almost every fucking episode at this point. It's got to be so dull.
It's fucking boring.
It's like, how you doing, Josh? How you doing, Jack? And we're like, yeah, it's getting warm. Or like, yeah, it's pretty cold.
Wonderful
we're like,
weather we're having, right, buddy?
Our fucking lives are so boring, dude.
I know. There's nothing. Yeah, I golfed today. Fucking who cares? Okay, let's
like yawn, man. Fucking yawn. You know what though? They're not that boring. We actually just hung out with one another this past weekend. BOD reunion.
We spent some time together. It was a lot of fun. Great times in Jersey and New York City.
Jack, you and our friends Ed and Crosby came out to Jersey. We went into the city. We did some drinking. We had a good time. Just good vibes, dude. We watched a little bit of Mall Shadow Lord together.
With Maddie from a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, Matt from his two appearances, the Jackless episode and the Matt, Mark, Michael, and Mother episode. Jeez, I did that to myself with the tongue twister. Yeah, Matt came out. It was a great time. It was like a little, like I said, a BOD reunion of hosts, of guests. The only one who was missing was Killian, man. If we had Killian, we'd have everybody who is... and Brandon. If Brandon...
But he didn't want to come. He had the choice.
Yeah, that was his decision. That he could have came, and instead... co-workers called.
Brandon, if you're listening, we missed you. You were very missed.
You were missed. And Matt, if you're listening, you should know that I'm actually currently holding your Ocean City hat hostage. You left it at my house.
Was like, I don't give a fuck that this guy left his hat at this other guy's house.
Would you rather listen to us talk about the weather some more? Because we could do that. We could talk about the weather, guys.
It's so funny to do a podcast and like you're just talking to your friend. That's what it is. And then like you're like, does anyone give a fuck about this conversation?
Not a single person. Even Matt's probably like, oh, I forgot about that. Like he's probably like, I don't care. But I am holding it for ransom. So if you ever want to see it again alive, you're gonna have to use our code W to get 10%. Our code. What is the code? Our code box office to get, what was it, 10% off?
10% off at WEnergy.com.
Yeah, so
they have crazy flavors, guys.
Yeah, we've totally tried them. So anyway,
yeah, they're so good. They're so good. Yes, we have a great episode. Speaking of things being hot and steamy, that's what this episode is going to be about. Okay, we're picking a new Bible study number, so we're picking a new random ass movie from the New York Times Book of Movies. Going over the box office numbers as usual. You're reviewing new horror movie Obsession which people are fucking raving about, so I'm very excited to hear what you have to say. And I'm reviewing The Punisher, One Last Kill, Marvel Special Presentation, which people are less raving about. And then we're going to play a game of over-under, finding out if things are overrated, underrated, or properly rated, and then end the episode, of course, with Seesaw. Woo!
The day we don't end an episode with Seesaw, people got to come do a welfare check on us.
Yeah, Josh's
like, this
dead body's
real
going to be
BOD.
sitting in the corner of the room with the camera on.
In the fucking cuck chair that I got in the corner over there, just fucking.
That's true. Leo's cuck chair.
All right. Well, unless we got any more weather-related topics or hat kidnapping topics that we want to talk about.
God, it's hot in here, dude.
Yeah, it's
Fucking
dude.
hot.
Did we mention that it's hot out today?
It's mad hot out today.
Why don't we get into some news nuggets, folks? The news of the week. There is always something for us to talk about. I have a few. And the first one that I'll start off with is actually news that I saw like right when last week's episode posted, so I had to wait a whole week to say it. I'm very excited. Conan O'Brien will return to host the 99th Oscars next year, 2027, which will mark his third straight year as the host. What do you think, Jack? I think that's really awesome news.
I love it, dude. I love him as the host. I thought his first hosting was incredible. His second one was also really good. Like nothing. He's just awesome. He's so funny. He's so charismatic, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think he really does. I mean, he was always one of my favorite like late night hosts. You know,
He's always been my favorite.
I think he is just so naturally funny, and I think that he fits that crowd very well. I'm so happy to see him. Like, remember when they didn't have a host for a couple years?
Yeah, it
like
sucks.
there was the whole thing. I remember Kevin Hart was supposed to be the host, and then there was something about resurfaced tweets because there's always resurfaced.
He said
tweets.
he would like beat his son over the head with a dollhouse if he found out he was gay.
Does that actually like what he fucking said?
I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Oh my god. That's...
Yeah, so like maybe
They should have
don't host the
mentioned that
Oscars.
one in the fucking. They should have maybe mentioned that one in the roast of.
That's how I know what he said. They talked. I think Shane Gillis and Dwayne Johnson. They were like talking about it.
Really?
Yeah, that roast was weird as hell too. By the way. But
Yeah, I did not watch it. Could not care.
I've seen clips on TikTok.
like in the slightest bit.
Yeah.
No, but so Conan O'Brien though is a great fit. Like they didn't have the host for a couple years, and then they went with Conan, and I think it just works. And I think they should keep letting him do it as long as he fucking wants.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back for the 100th. I mean, of all the people who can handle 100, I think it's Conan.
What if they had him host the 100th, but every living host also shows up for like hosting a bit or something?
That would be cool, but also very complicated, right?
Not for Conan, and not for me.
Who is, in your memory, who is the worst host of all time?
James Franco?
Yeah, James Franco and Anne Hathaway. They were co-hosts.
But she got sucked into it because he was terrible. She was trying, man.
I guess. But why them? The duo made absolutely zero sense.
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
yeah, that was atrocious. I'm glad you thought of that one immediately because that was
Yeah.
like
I don't want to throw Anne
obvious,
Hathaway in with him, even though that's kind of a package.
I love Anne Hathaway. Don't get me wrong, but like, it was not working, guys.
No,
I'm sorry.
terrible.
All right, moving on. Grown Ups 3 is officially in the works at Netflix. It'll supposedly follow the group and their partners as they travel to Europe and spread their close friends' ashes and prove that even in their 60s they can still be fun. While not confirmed, it is expected that the core is coming back. Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, David Spade, Kevin James, and Rob Schneider returning for the third installment. And Kyle Newacek will direct, known for Murder Mystery and Happy Gilmore 2, so a couple other Sandler collaborations. So Grown Ups 3 finally happening.
Yeah. There's like a level of nostalgia for those movies. Do we think that the ashes of the friend is going to be one of the group? Like, because do you remember that Rob Schneider wasn't even in the second one?
Oh shit, I completely forgot. Not
Dude,
gonna lie.
nobody noticed that he wasn't in it because nobody gives a fuck about Rob Schneider. So I would not be surprised if he's in this one for like 2 minutes and then he dies and it's his ashes.
That would be hilarious.
He wasn't
Absolutely.
even in the second one. Why would he come back? And plus, he's like pretty controversial right now.
Oh, he's super controversial. Yeah, that's a good point, Jack. Because like I was thinking that too when they said, "Oh, spread their close friends' ashes." Like, what does that mean? Like, who?
I don't know.
Like, what
it's
does
gonna be
it
like
look like?
Colin Quinn or some shit. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
I don't know.
I don't know, but maybe it'll be Robbie Schneider. We'll see.
Robbie, sure.
Anyway, moving on to my third news nugget of the week. And that is that we got the full cast list for the Batman Part 2. It was confirmed online by Matt Reeves. I know you were going to bring us the cast list on this episode, and then you didn't write it down. And
I only wrote down 2, so I'll let you handle this.
Okay, you sure? You good?
Yeah.
So, to everyone's surprise, Robert Pattinson will be back as Batman.
Whoa.
So, we have Sebastian Stan, Scarlett Johansson, and Charles Dance all confirmed to be in the film. Now, their roles have not yet technically been confirmed by Matt Reeves, but it is expected that Sebastian Stan will be Harvey Dent, Scarlett Johansson will be Gilda Dent, and Charles Dance will be Christopher Dent. So the Dent family.
Who the fuck is Gilda Dent? Charles Dance is not married to Scarlett Johansson in this universe, guys. Like, no way.
No, I think maybe it's like a sister or wife or something.
Maybe. Okay. All right.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
Sebastian Koch, character to be announced. Brian Tyree Henry, character to be announced. That was a surprise. I don't think anyone saw that one coming. I love him. I've been watching Atlanta. He's awesome in that. Huge
People
fan.
are thinking that he's going to be Harvey Bullock, which is like Jim Gordon's kind of partner type shit in the PD, Gotham PD. So I don't know, but I think he's supposed to be corrupt. I don't really remember. It's been a while since I've read up on him, but those are the speculations for Brian Tyree Henry.
I didn't see that, so that's interesting. Either way, Brian Tyree Henry is going to fit in this universe very well, I think. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have Andy Serkis coming back as Alfred. We have Colin Farrell coming back as the Penguin. Jeffrey Wright coming back as Jim Gordon. Jamie Lawson coming back as Mayor Bellarille. And Gil Perez Abraham coming back as Officer Martinez. So those are the confirmed casts. That is the confirmed cast list for the Batman Part 2 so far.
That's good, and I love that Matt Reeves himself is the one posting all this, because it's like, shit is happening, Production is making its way through.
I agree, yeah, we're finally getting a move on. I mean, this movie came out when? 2022? So 4 years ago already, and next year it's supposed to come out like October of 2027, which would make it 5 years since...
It's a long time for a sequel.
I agree. Do you think we're still getting a third?
Did you see... I think we are, because I think the second one's going to make a lot of money.
Okay. I'm just unsure.
Did you see the, what's it called? The post that he posted? It's like the Batmobile in the snow.
Yeah. Wasn't that like the first kind of look at it little bit?
Yeah. Is that, I mean, if it's coming out in October, sure. Like, maybe it's like snow vibes, Christmas vibes, or Mr. Freeze. So, I don't know.
Oh, I don't think it's Christmas vibes. I think it could be Mr. Freeze vibes, especially. Yeah. I mean, and that's not new speculation from us. You know what I mean? Like, people ever since the way the first one ends with Gotham all flooded after everything that went down. Like, I with the Riddler, like that definitely seems to be the direction they're trending in.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we're talking about how long this movie takes to make. It's gonna be 5 years before it comes out, maybe 6. Who knows? I wonder how long it's going to take until, like, in universe, how much time has passed, Like, does it take place the day after the first one ends, or is it 5 years later? Is it 1 year later? It's going to be very interesting to see where they go with this movie.
For sure. All right, and I have one more news nugget for today, for this week, and that is that The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is going to end this week after 33 years on the air, 22 years with David Letterman, and the last 11, of course, with Colbert. The show was canceled by CBS last year after they claimed that they were suffering major financial losses and a decline in advertising revenue. However, this is the interesting thing. The Late Show in this last year, even before the cancellation announcement, has continued to dominate late night in ratings. It beats out The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel Live. Colbert's cancellation came days after he criticized the network's parent company, which is a company that has not been spared from our criticism, Paramount, after they they reached a settlement with Trump over a 60 minutes interview. It should be noted that, and we've obviously talked ad nauseum about it, that Paramount is seeking to merge with Warner Brothers and take over the studio at pretty much the behest of Trump and David Ellison. So Colbert and The Late Show are coming to an end. And I know that that's not necessarily your jelly and jam, but I'm still curious your thoughts on just the way this all played out. And now that we're at the end, what you think this means moving forward for both late night television and just politics involvement in media and entertainment in general.
Well, I think, like, they say that even though it has like great ratings and it's high up there, it is too expensive to make, which doesn't make too much sense to me, but whatever. I don't know. I think the late night shows in general are kind of like, they need to do things differently. I like, I don't know. They have celebrities on for like 5 minutes, and then the rest of it is them like playing dumb games or them doing a monologue for 10 minutes. And I'm
playing
kind of
dumb games. What show? Show plays dumb games?
Fallon. That's Jimmy Fallon, dude.
No, I was poking fun at us, but you're also right about that.
But Jimmy Fallon playing. I don't really care about Jimmy playing Flip Cup with Elizabeth Olsen instead of like talking to her about the actual movie. You know what I mean? Like, I think like that is actually like a waste of time, and I don't care if a show like that is, I don't give a fuck about that, and I also don't care about their monologues really. I really want to just see them do the talk show with the actor or actress or musician or whoever it is with the guest. And a lot of the times that is like 5 minutes long or like 10 minutes long, but there's commercials in between. It seems like the purpose of the Late Show is kind of gone off the rails a little bit. So I can see why they start getting canceled, but because it's Paramount, because of the way it's getting done, I don't like it.
I do. Yeah, I mean, I understand your point. I do think there is this perception about late night, and as we move into this new age of entertainment and media and the place that it really still holds. Although I would argue that it does have still a fairly significant footprint in culture, even if it's not one that people really think about, because these shows, in a way, have adapted to the new era where they utilize social media, they utilize YouTube, they have a lot of, clips, kind of like us in a way. They have clips that engage viewers in a way that, okay, even if they're not necessarily tuning in every single night, people tuning into CBS at 11:30 every night to watch Colbert, there are still people who do, and then there's even more people who get clips of it online. And so I do think that even if people don't value late night to the same degree that the average American household did 20 years ago, even like when Letterman was doing the show, for example, I still think that there is a value to having these shows, these programs, as fully, independent outlets of political or social satire. And, again, you can like or not like Colbert, you can like or not like Fallon or Kimmel or Seth Meyers or Jon Stewart or any of these people, you know what I mean? And you're entitled to that opinion. But I agree with you on the extent of it's the manner in which these shows are being taken off the air should be concerning. Because first you saw what happened to Jimmy Kimmel when he was taken off the air after he made a comment that Trump didn't like. And now you see Colbert was canceled, and they're wiping this entire show off that's been the staple of CBS for 33 years because he criticized Paramount and their kind of coziness with the Trump administration. So whether or not you like the shows, that is completely up to the individual, and that is fair game either way.
It depends why you're watching it. Some people want to see celebrities play Flip Cup and beer pong and do Pictionary and stuff like that, and that can be fun sometimes, but I don't really give a shit about that.
No, I don't. I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of the games. I like the interviews. I don't mind the monologues, but I do like the interviews the most. And Colbert, because he's going off the air and people really don't support why he's being taken off the air, he's gotten a lot of really good guests. I watched his interview with Christopher Nolan, who went on to talk about the Odyssey. That was really awesome.
That was great.
I watched his interview with Barack Obama,
But again, how long are these interviews? They're like 11 minutes long.
No, but that's the thing. This is what I mean by they utilize social media and YouTube, because they post the extended interviews on YouTube. So Colbert's interview with Nolan, I don't know, I'm sure it was like you said, 11 minutes or something on air, but on YouTube it was the full 20-something minute interview.
But that's what I'm like, at that point, just be a YouTube channel. Like if you're not going to utilize your network for the full extent that you should, then you're not using the network. Like why use a YouTube in better ways than you actually use the network that you're on?
Well, I mean, that's a good question, but I would say that one, it's a network show first and foremost. And so it works within these parameters of cable television where you have time slots and commercial breaks and this and that. And I'm all for YouTube shows, but I'm also all for a variety and options. And so while I think these late night shows should adapt and it's kind of like what you were saying off air to me about, we have our interviews on here and then we have the BOD Patreon where people can get the full unedited ones. Like,
yeah.
I think it's something like that. Though. Yeah, you do. It's paywall, but I think it's similar to that, where it's like, look, you can only air so much in a time slot. You have commercials and ads that you have to run. It's a business, but that the shows are finding ways to get more content out to the public, I think, is not necessarily a fault of the network show, but a testament to the creatives behind it and their ability to find new diverse ways to grow the base of the show and to reinvent it for each new generation. So, again, it's not for everyone. And I completely respect that. It's not like I sit around and watch late night television. I usually will watch clips of interviews. That's what I do.
Yeah, I get all my stuff on TikTok, and then I go find it on YouTube if I really like it. If I see like a 2-minute thing on TikTok, I'm like, shit, I should watch that interview.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, it's not necessarily a matter of, do you like the shows? It's a matter of, well, are they still worth being on air? And why are they being taken off air? And is that okay? Like, that to me is the bigger question here. It's not so much, I like Colbert. I like Colbert. I didn't exactly sit around and watch the show very much. I think I maybe checked out the first episode when he took over for Letterman like 11 years ago. But I just think that the way he's being taken off air, it very much feels like art and opinions being silenced. Like, it really feels like a silencing.
What is, that group of 5 of the late night hosts?
Strike Force 5.
Can you rank the members of Strike Force 5?
Based on like how much I like them, or
how much,
like what?
Yeah, how much you like them, just as, you like watching them, you like them as people, whatever. How much you like them?
That's a good question. I'm gonna do that. And by the way, did you know that Strike Force 5 actually all went on his show?
I did. I
did watch that. I did watch that episode. I heard they were coming on. I did tune into that episode just because I really wanted to see how that interview went. And that's like if I had a talk show or you had a talk show and all our friends came on. That's the vibe that it was.
It's so sick. And then we started a podcast with everybody.
Did you ever listen to their podcast at the time?
No, I there was no Conan, so I had no interest.
He did
he was in like
a guest appearance.
Right?
He did a guest appearance. He did one. Jon Stewart did a guest appearance, and David Letterman did a guest appearance. Jon Stewart would probably be my favorite. He's not in the Strike Force 5, so I can't use him, but he would probably be my number 1.
So what's your ranking of Strike Force 5?
Okay, let's see.
5-1.
Oh, 5-1? So 5 would be, I hate to say it, but it would be John Oliver, but it's just because I don't watch much of his show. I feel like he might not be number 5 if I really engaged with it more. His is a little different. Last
his
week
show,
tonight,
the whole system is different.
It works differently. So when I say 5, just do that with like an asterisk of I don't really know much about his show or his comedy. 4 would be Seth Meyers. I loved Seth Meyers when he was the Weekend Update host on SNL. Unfortunately, I think his version of the late night show, which has seen, before him, it was Letterman, Conan, Fallon, like some great people with that show. Like, I think it's just kind of a boring version of a late night show. In third place, I would put Jimmy Fallon. I like Jimmy Fallon. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Tonight Show because he's a good bridge for what is an older kind of variety show with a new generation of TV watchers. I do think I don't love his interviewing, and I don't love all the games and everything on his show. But I like it. But I like his energy, though. I do like his energy. Yeah, the fake laugh. But like,
fake laugh is crazy.
But
what are you gonna do? Not laugh at your guest?
The thing about Jimmy Fallon is like when the real Jimmy Fallon comes out, you're like, whoa, shit, like that's Jimmy Fallon, because like he was hilarious. He was hilarious on SNL.
He was,
and his version of Late Night was really good. Late Night with Jimmy Fallon was a really good show. And then he took over the Tonight Show and made it very pop culture heavy.
Yeah.
Which just I don't think has always worked for me. But he's in the middle. And then 2 and 1 is really tough between Colbert and Kimmel. I'm gonna have to. It's very close, but I'm gonna put Colbert at 2 and Kimmel at 1. I think Colbert is great. I love that he feels like a very real. They both feel like very more genuine than the other ones, in my opinion. Colbert is a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I respect that. And I think that he might be the best interviewer of the 5. Like, I love his questions. I love the way he interacts with his guests. I might put Kimmel at 1 just because Kimmel is so unafraid of challenging this administration, of challenging his audience, of speaking his mind. And I know not everyone loves Kimmel. He's not always the funniest. Sometimes he makes jokes and I'm like, all right, that's, but like, yeah. I just really appreciate how authentic his show comes across to me.
That's fair. That's a good list. Now that I've asked you that, I realize I don't really like any of them. Like, I only really like Jon Stewart. I only really like Jon Stewart and Conan. And that's none of those guys are them. So I don't really give a shit about any of these 5 guys that I'm thinking about it.
I think you would like Colbert. I just don't think you've really seen anything of his stuff.
No, I've seen a lot of Colbert. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. He gives me weird vibes. I don't think he's funny, and then he gives me weird, like, off vibes. I've also seen clips of him kind of being like rude, and it like puts me off a little bit. Same thing with Letterman. I've seen him be a dick to his guests sometimes, and I'm like, ugh, like I don't want to.
Letterman was a very and that went into a big reason why Letterman never got the Tonight Show, because he was Johnny Carson's like protege. And he was like, Carson, when he was retiring, wanted Letterman to take over the Tonight Show, and NBC didn't really want to do that because he was a very like niche kind of comedy, very brash person. He was a great late night host. I mean, yeah, he came off that way sometimes. I see what you're saying, but like Letterman had a very successful show. And I really enjoyed a lot of, Letterman's like the clips I've seen from him. And then, of course, Jay Leno ended up taking the Tonight Show because they felt he appealed to a more common audience.
Big Chin Leno.
Guys, who stole the Tonight Show back from Conan, by the way. We all know about that.
Yeah, Conan's my goat. He will always be my goat. Let's move on from this late night talk show host talk. There's a lot. This is like 30 minutes of our podcast.
30 minutes, Jack. Yeah. Your time is off as crazy. We've not been talking about.
We're all right. We're 15 minutes into. Okay, so 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes.
That's okay. Fine. That's half of what you just said, though. All right. Let's pick a new Bible study film.
Yes. So we have the New York Times Book of Movies, Essential 1,000 Movies to See, and we are going to ask the audience, which we've done that, to comment a number between 23 and 1,265. That number correlates to a movie in this list, and we watch that movie and review it. So I have all the numbers. I'm going to spin a wheel, and then we're going to look at the movie and tell you what we got. So the winner of this week's Bible study, because that's our film Bible, is going to be number 586. So whoever commented 586, thank you. We are watching.
Are you going to like the name?
What are we watching? We are watching Kiss of the Spider Woman from 1985. Okay, we got a sexy one.
I'm gonna warn you, Jack. This is not a Spider-Man movie.
Fuck,
I know
dude,
what
I thought
it
it was
says,
Spider-Woman.
this is not a Spider-Man movie. Kiss of the Spider-Woman from 1985, directed by Hector Babenco, and starring William Hurt, Raul Julia. The film follows the story of two radically different men thrown together in a Latin American prison cell. One is Valentin, a journalist being tortured for his political beliefs. The other is Molina, a gay window dresser who fills their lonely nights by spinning romantic fantasies drawn from memories of old movies. Interesting.
How long is it?
Honestly, why is that always what you ask?
Because we've watched movies that are like 3.5 hours.
It is. I'll tell you what. It's 380 minutes. How about that?
No, it's fucking not. How long is it?
120 minutes.
Oh, let's go. All right, this could be the best movie yet.
Jack's like, the shorter the better. Jack, you're waiting for a movie to be like a 5-minute short, and you're like,
I would
fuck
love
yeah,
that.
dude.
I would love that, dude.
You would
could
watch
be
it
awesome.
like 5 minutes before we start recording the episode too.
I would. So we're gonna watch Kiss of the Spider-Woman. That sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds interesting. 3.7 average.
I like William Hurt, General Ross.
Yeah, man. Raul Julia was in the Addams Family. He was Gomez.
Wait, what's he got on Letterboxd?
3.7.
It's kind of low for these movies.
Dude, no way. I mean, the last movie we watched, The Last Emperor, was that was a 3.9.
I think a lot of them are like 3.9s or in the 4s.
You know what? I'm curious that you say that. I'm going to sort my list real quick by the lowest average rating, which has to be The Jazz Singer. Yeah, 2.8.
Yeah,
and then the next lowest, the original Mad Max, and what was a 3.3, and The Shooting Party 3.4. We've had some lower ones.
Yeah. All right. So, Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Sounds good.
Should be fun. And so in 2 episodes, we will be reviewing Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Thank you to whoever commented that. I feel like we always get numbers like in bunches. You know what I mean? Like
we do. We just got 2 more today.
Like oh, well, I meant like when we pick. Okay, so like when we pick a number, it feels like the numbers are always like near each other. Like we just did 600.
Oh,
we did 666. Now we're doing what, 580 something. So like
someone commented 2 new numbers today, so we'll add those to next week's list.
To the next time that we choose a new number.
Uh-huh.
All right. So moving right along to the box office numbers, folks. That is right. We are going to go over the box office numbers from the weekend of May 15th through the 17th. So we always know how this goes. We're going to jump right into it. Top 5 in 5th place in its second weekend of release, making, what is that, $9.5 million more is The Sheep Detectives. So hanging on strong through 2 weeks is The Sheep Detectives, which, Jack, you finally got a chance to see, I believe.
I did. Very good movie. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, just such a... and by the way, isn't that ending? I mean, man. Whew.
With the cloud?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Dude, that brought a tear to my eye.
For sure. For sure. I told you it would. In 4th place in its second weekend of release, with a steep 65.2% drop-off from its first weekend, making $13.4 million, is Mortal Kombat 2. So Mortal Kombat 2, which had a pretty good opening weekend, suffers a pretty steep drop-off in its second week.
Yeah, I'm no surprise there.
In 3rd place in its opening weekend of release with a whopping $17 million is Obsession. The box office for Obsession has been insane. I know you talked about how this film is the rave right now this past week.
People love it.
It's
everything I see on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll talk about it in a few moments, but just to highlight some of its box office here, it got $6.9 million on its domestic opening day alone, and it exceeded all of its projections when it got the $17.2 million domestic and opened to $24.8 million worldwide. It made another $3 million on Monday alone. We usually record Mondays. Today's Tuesday, so the Monday results made $3 million on Monday, which was number 1 actually on the Monday box office. The film had a budget of $750,000, not million,
Yeah,
$1,000,000, and it's already at nearly $25 million, and it is one of the highest rated horror films of the decade. This film is huge. Massive returns for an original horror film directed by a 26-year-old YouTuber at that. Very exciting stuff. We'll talk about the film more in a little bit.
You should check out their YouTube channel. They have so many great like comedy videos. I literally was watching them when they probably had like a couple 100,000 subscribers, and now I'm sure they're at like the tens of millions at this point. But
dude, you're an OG.
I am an OG. I haven't even seen the movie, but I'm an OG.
You got to watch the movie, man. I know you don't love horror, but you got to watch the movie.
I know.
In second place in its third weekend of release with another $17.8 million, but a 57% drop off, The Devil Wears Prada 2. So The Devil Wears Prada 2, though, still a big success. $546 million worldwide. I'm not sure I was expecting that for this movie.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's still hanging on that high up.
Well,
I really thought Obsession would have taken over that.
It was close. It was less than $1 million difference. It was like a $600,000 difference. But, the franchise film over the original horror is usually going to win out.
Yeah. It's just because the word of mouth. Like, nobody's really talking about Devil Wears Prada right now.
No, not anymore. And I think that reflects in its steep drop-off. But it also still, I think this is an important note that I never really talk about in these box office numbers. You have to consider how many theaters it's playing in. This past weekend, Obsession played in 2,600 theaters to The Devil Wears Prada 2's 3,800 theaters.
Yeah.
So I think
do something.
I think the fact that Obsession was almost able to beat it out with over 1,000 less theaters that it was playing in is nothing to kind of snuff at. In first place, jumping back into first place with another $26 million in its fourth weekend is Michael, which finished in third place last week and jumps back into first place at the box office this weekend. I know Matt is probably creaming himself right now.
He's reaching cream right now.
He is reaching cream hearing this, saying, Josh, Michael's going to make $1 billion. So let's check in on that.
Billy.
Michael is currently at $706.7 million worldwide, and that is with Mandalorian and Grogu coming out this upcoming weekend.
It's not hitting $1 billion, but, it got close. That's something.
Good job, champ. Good job, Puyi.
He got it.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying I'm surprised it jumped back into first because the only big release of the weekend was still an original horror film that was not likely going to top Michael, especially when you consider the worldwide box office, even though these are domestic rankings. So, Michael's not going to be number one next weekend for sure. But the fact that it was able to go it didn't even fall to 2, it fell to 3. Last weekend, it was behind Devil Wears Prada 2 and Mortal Kombat 2. So it was able to jump back ahead of Mortal Kombat 2 and Devil Wears Prada 2 to retake number one by a pretty large margin, almost $10 million. By the way, the last thing is the Billy Watch for Super Mario Galaxy, which is all but dead at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It is at $966.5 million.
Yeah. I would have put money that it would have hit $1 billion, but
I thought so too. Especially because the first one made it like 1.1 billion. But Super Mario Galaxy, was it 1.3?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, there you go. But Super Mario Galaxy movie finished in 6th place this weekend, and it only raked in just under $4.5 million domestically. So it is kind of at a halt on the Billy Watch. But congratulations to Michael, I guess, for winning the weekend box office, weekend of May 15th through the 17th. Enjoy it while you can, champ, because next weekend, Mandalorian is obviously going to win the box office.
Yeah. Dave Filoni's going to shove his fucking... Never mind. He's going to do something.
Come on, finish that sentence. What's Dave Filoni going to do?
Fucking green Yoda dick inside some Michael, bro. That's all I got.
I think Michael's the one who was going to do it to
probably.
Fucking Grogu.
But... He would take Grogu to fucking Neverland Ranch, dude.
Okay. So why don't I get into the big movie of the week. And that is, even though it didn't finish number one, it is still the big movie of the week. And that is Obsession, the
It
new
finished
horror
number one
film.
in your heart.
Really, it did. It really did. The new horror film Obsession, directed by Curry Barker, out in theaters this past weekend. I'm going to give my ratings and spoiler-free review because I know you are probably going to be seeing it at some point in the near future, I would hope.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do my best, although, God, I wish you have seen this movie because there's so much to talk about. I give Obsession 9.5 One Wish Willows out of 10. This movie is one of the best of the year. And what this movie also cements in my head is that the 2020s are one of the best decades of horror we've gotten ever. I mean, it is up there with the 70s and the 80s in terms of classic horror decades, with the amount of incredible films coming out in this genre, and Obsession is the next in a long line of that. What I love about horror is, and I think it is the most flexible and inventive genre for storytelling. Just in the way that you can use these wacky situations to manipulate real human emotions and events, grief, trauma, love, obsession, all of these things that we experience, you can be exaggerated in this genre, but still grounded in very real life emotions and situations. So the film basically follows this guy named Bear, who is part of this friend group, and he has strong feelings for his friend Nikki and does not know how to ask her out. And so he buys this thing called a One Wish Willow, where you get one, every person gets one wish. It's like the Family Guy thing where Spider-Man was like, everybody gets one. Tell him, Peter. And Peter's like, apparently everybody gets one. That's pretty much how that works in this movie. And so he uses the One Wish Willow to wish for Nikki to love him more than anyone else in the world. And he soon realizes that he basically got more than he bargained for.
She becomes obsessed, right? Like, that's the idea.
Sure. But, and that's what I mean, though, is by there's so much more that goes into this movie, because I think there's a real point that is made by Curry Barker about who is actually obsessed with who. Like, she becomes obsessed, right? Like this kind of wish Nikki people are really referring to her as, obviously, basically like snaps and devotes her entire whole being to Bear. And you know, it is like said, oh, she sees him as a friend, but all of a sudden now she's in love and they're dating. And through an absolutely clever screenplay, I mean, truly one of the best written films of the year, it kind of goes down this rabbit hole of, well, who's the one who's truly obsessed? And I think that most people would say that the real villain of the story, the real obsessed person, is Bear with Nikki. And what the depravity he is willing to let her go through under this spell to, you know, kind of fulfill his fantasy. It is absolutely creepy. It is twisted. It is unsettling. It's scary. And I think there's a lot of, like when I said before about the horror thing, realism to this, in the sense that this film takes a very very profound look at the toxic terror of modern dating, especially for women, and the slippery slope of autonomy that comes at the hands of the male loneliness epidemic, which is really the whole point of this film that we see play out in these scenes, the way he kind of treats Nikki as like a toy in a sense.
He's got to be like an incel, right?
Absolutely.
If he's making that kind of wish. I saw an interview with Curry Barker, and the interviewer was like, yeah, the One Wish Willow is a curse. And Curry Barker was like, it's really not. It's the nature of this kid's wish that is a curse. like if you wish for something simple, like I wish, I don't know, he didn't say like exactly wishes, but he was like, you can do other things with it and be happy. But he's like, the nature of this kid's wish is like a possessive thing. Like I want to basically change this whole person's mindset in life and enslave them to me. Like the nature of his wish is the curse. So I thought that was super interesting that it's not like the thing's fault. You know, it's the wish itself, and it's the guy, it's Bear.
Absolutely. I think that the film even tries to make this point, and Curry Barker and Indy Navarrete, who we'll get to in a moment, have said in interviews like, you know, it's about the wording of it. You know, it's about the way you kind of approach the wish. You have to be very specific about it. And to that end, he I guess was not, obviously. And it led to this really horrifying kind of turn of events for everybody involved, including not just the two of them, but their friend group and the people that they associate themselves with. And, you know, I think it's a lot of people could look at Bear's character at the beginning and say, well, he didn't even think it was going to work. Right. And that's probably true. I'm sure he did not really think it was going to work, but it becomes very apparent as the film goes on that not only does he realize this is working, you know, there's one scene in particular where it kind of clicks for him. He's like, oh, I think that the wish worked. He continues to go along with it even after he sees that this is very much against her will. She is trapped. She has lost her individual autonomy and is essentially a slave to Bear. It's disturbing in a lot of ways, the way that Curry Barker presents this to us. And of course, I've said it before now, but like this film does not work without Indy Navarrete's performance, which is easily my favorite of the whole year already.
I've seen some clips, man. She's so far creepy.
I mean, she has this way of expressing physically and, you know, physically with her face, with her body. The way that she moves is so unnatural. And the way that you're able to buy into this performance, I mean, it is dynamite stuff, dude. Absolutely dynamite stuff. I'd go as far as to say, and I'm not the only one, it should be Oscar consideration kind of stuff. And look, you just gave Amy Madigan an Oscar for Weapons. And the year before, Demi Moore almost won for The Substance.
Yeah.
So this
Michael
whole
B. Jordan won for Sinners.
For Sinners. Great point. So like this idea that horror can't win awards at the Oscars anymore.
That's gone. That's long gone.
It should not necessarily be true. And I know Amy Madigan, a veteran, you know, it was also part of a career kind of accomplishment for her. Indy Navarrete is like, what, 20 something? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
she's young.
You know, I get that she's an unknown. I'm not necessarily saying she would go on to win the Oscar, but man, they better campaign hard for her. I think the film was released by Focus Features, maybe. And all I know is they better campaign for her hard, because this is my favorite performance of the year so far.
How would you... Sorry, keep going.
No, I was just going to say, we're almost 5 months into the year, and this is easily my favorite performance. I'm in awe of what she has done, and her character to me is now one of the modern horror iconic characters.
Something we always talk about on this podcast is like unnecessary sequels, right? And it's like, why are they making this? Why are they doing this? They're making a fourth, fifth, blah, blah, blah. I saw Curry Barker, again, probably same interview. He said that because of the nature of how the One Wish Willow works, he would love to do like a horror TV series, and each episode is a different wish. And he's like, it doesn't have to necessarily be horror. Each episode could be a different genre. You can have a comedy one, you can have a dramatic one, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, do the One Wish Willow in like an episodic, maybe like a Black Mirror type of TV series. Is that something that you would want after watching this movie? Or would you want a sequel just movie, another sequel horror movie? Or how would you want them to continue with the One Wish Willow verse?
I would probably rather it in movies, but I think there's so much... Like, I wouldn't want a sequel with these characters. You couldn't do it.
You'd have to do a whole separate person cracking the shit.
It is a one-off movie for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think there is a lot you could explore here with this concept of the One Wish Willow. And I mean, think about all the things that you could wish for, right? Love, money, fame,
you to crawl through my screen and start bouncing on it.
That too. Matt might wish to get his Ocean City hat back without paying the ransom. So there are endless possibilities to this concept that you can take an anthological approach to it. I mean, I don't know if I would love a TV show because it would feel lesser than the movie, which maybe is okay, but I don't know.
But you like the It TV show.
Yeah, I do, but I think that's a little different because it's like a prequel, kind show. It's not necessarily an anthem. I mean,
they're not gonna do like the origins of the One Wish Willow,
right? I wouldn't want that. I mean, you could say with Welcome to Derry, like it's an anthology in the sense that each season is going back in time, but it is ultimately telling the story of It and of Derry, whereas the One Wish Willow thing would just be isolated stories of people who interact with the One Wish Willow, what they wish for, and the consequences that they face.
That was pretty much what he pitched. He was like different episodes of different events and people and different wishes, and then basically each episode is a different director. And he was like, I want to see people being able to be creative in this space, and give them that opportunity.
I would love to see that. I mean, this was just so great. I mean, even the technical side of it, like Curry Barker, man, is such a fucking star. Not only did he direct it, not only did he write it, he was the editor, and it was cut very, very well, very precisely with a vision in mind. I also love, do you remember Shock Corridor when we watched that? You remember how one of the highlights of that was the way they use shadows?
Yeah,
in that film. It reminds me a lot of that with this one. The way he used shadows, the way he blocked his characters, there was so much tension and fear in that alone. It's not even about jump scares, right? Like this film isn't really a jump scare kind of film. Sure, it indulges when the time is right, but it's earned, and it's not about that. It's the way he blocks his characters. Like they never really make Nikki's character like this grotesque monster. On the outside, I mean, she's Nikki, but the way they hide her in darkness and shadows, the way he kind of lights her eyes, like,
because she's a good-looking girl.
That's a nice way of putting it. She's bad. Like
she's bad as hell. Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's bad as hell. So
to make her creep you out in any sense is pretty awesome.
Absolutely, Jack. Absolutely. To the point where you feel like suffocated by it. It tremendous film. Like I wish I could talk even more about it. Obviously, these are my spoiler-free thoughts, but I just love everything about it. Obviously, talking about how Curry Barker is like comedy to horror pipeline, which is one that we have seen very often. Jordan Peele, among others, follow that pipeline. And even in this movie, there is this like uneasy balance between comedy and horror. There really are kind of laugh out loud moments in a sense of just like the way a line is delivered, the way a situation plays out. And I think I've said it before when I've reviewed other horror films, that has to do with the similarities in the timing of comedy and horror, the way that, they are timed out in the spaces. My God, man. I mean, this movie is really all that.
I'm probably going to see it in like 2 weeks, maybe. Because there's a lot of shit coming out next weekend. But I'm excited to see it. Everyone's hyping it up like crazy. My girlfriend, who doesn't see movies more than once in theaters, really, because I don't do that either, and definitely doesn't re-review movies. She saw it again this weekend while I was with you. She saw it a second time, and she re-reviewed it on Letterboxd and gave it another 5 stars because she was like, that's how fucking good it is. I need to review it and show everyone in the world that it's another 5 stars.
It really is that good. She is absolutely spot on with it. I mean, I gave it 4.5 on Letterboxd. On a rewatch, maybe it's a 5. We've had that conversation last week with One Battle After Another.
She said it's better on the rewatch.
That's just the case. It might be better on the rewatch than the first time watch, but even on the first time watch, it is insane. And even the marketing for this movie was insane. Like there was a whole bit where you could like get text messages from Nikki, and I did it. I signed up for it. It like puts her contact in your phone, and she'll like send you like voice messages and different things.
What
and
the
it's like
fuck?
really
Dude,
creepy.
people are definitely like, I just want a girl to text me.
Yeah, no, but but like it is such outside the box kind of marketing,
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
so they gave Nikki a Letterbox account, so I followed it because I
What?
thought it
That's
was really
awesome.
funny.
That's how you
Yeah,
know it's a 27-year-old director, however old Curry Barker is. Like
yeah,
they're
he's
using
26. He's
Letterboxd.
our age. He's literally
Wow,
our
like
age.
Letterboxd promotional stuff.
So I got to tell you, Jack, out of 18 films that I've seen so far that have come out in the year of 2026, it is number 2.
It is behind Project Hail Mary.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, dude. Well, we've been waiting for Project Hail Mary to get dethroned, and it's gonna be a while. It'll probably get dethroned for me in July, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean the Odyssey. We had this conversation before too, where I said for me it's either the Odyssey or Dune 3 or Godzilla minus zero, and small chance Disclosure Day, just because I will never discount Spielberg's ability to do that. I don't think it will, but it's Steven fucking Spielberg, so maybe. Look, on a rewatch, could Obsession dethrone it? Maybe. I don't think it would, even if I moved it up to 5 stars. But that's irrelevant in the fact that, two legends can coexist. And that's what we have here. Obsession is one of the defining films of the year. Like, I really think, like I said, this is a defining decade of horror. This is one of those defining films of the genre. And I think people are going to be talking about this movie for a very long time.
I think so too. I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm hyped up to see it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very excited for you to see it. So that's what I got on Obsession, spoiler free. Go check it out. Support original cinema, support horror, and go support this movie.
I'm gonna quickly review The Punisher: One Last Kill, new Marvel special presentation, spoiler free review. I give this 6.5 PlayStation 2 cutscenes out of 10. I don't know. Have you seen that clip online?
I did
of
see
him
that
falling?
one. It straight up looks like something out of like GTA San Andreas.
Yeah,
like
it's literally like PlayStation 2 shit.
And I did see, before you get into your reviews, since you bring that up, that Marvel was like, oh no, that was not VFX. That was just, all we did was touch up the face on the stuntman. It was otherwise real. 1, bullshit. 2, even if that was true, why the fuck does it look so bad?
It looks
like so fucking bad. So it doesn't matter. So I just wanted to say that they're trying to get ahead of it and be like, no, we didn't do VFX for that.
Listen, their budget is like probably like scrap change compared to what a Marvel movie gets, So like, I don't, it's not Marvel movies look like shit sometimes. So, and they've a huge budget. So anyway, The Punisher: One Last Kill, spoiler free review. 6.5 out of 10. This was entertaining, sure, but it was just kind of there. Like, you would want it to bridge the gap between Daredevil Born Again season 1 and Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it just doesn't. So the whole idea of this special presentation is that Frank's going fucking crazy. He's losing his mind. He's just basically doing nothing. He's sitting in his apartment all day, fucking hallucinating people, blah, blah, blah. Crazy shit, which is a huge difference from when we see him in Born Again season 1. And Born Again season 1, he's normal, right? Like, remember that? Like, he's
as normal as Frank Castle can be.
Exactly. But he's like wearing the Punisher suit. He's got the skull. He's like, hey, what's up, Red? Like, oh, your ass cheeks are out from your hospital gown. Stuff like that. He's a regular guy. In this one, it starts off with him being a fucking lunatic, like hallucinating, schizophrenic Frank Castle. And I don't know. What is the connection there? They don't explain it. And, he's hallucinating his family, and I get that. But we've done that so many times already. We've done that for 2 seasons of The Punisher. We did it for Daredevil season 2 when Frank Castle was first introduced. We did that already. And now he's doing it again. And basically the whole idea of this is that he has killed pretty much everyone involved with his family's death already. And then one lady survives and she puts a hit out on him. And then he's the one last kill that people need. And basically half of it is him building up to that by basically sitting in his apartment doing nothing. And the other half is him just killing a bunch of people in his apartment and like running away from them and jumping off the roof and landing in like whatever the fuck that was, air conditioning unit. And that's it. That is really it. And then at the end, it also doesn't seem like it's really going to bridge to Spider-Man. So I don't know what the point of this was besides to be like, hey, we still have the Punisher. It doesn't really make sense, and there's not much to say about it because it's so short. I think if you're gonna do
a 45-minute special and 20 of those minutes are him being sad about his family's death, which we've seen a million times, you're wasting your time. I don't need half of it to be that. I want half of it to be him doing cool Punisher shit, or him having a new arc or some new development instead of the same thing we've always been seeing him do. And it's always like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. And then he gets brought back in. And he's like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. And then he gets brought back in. We've seen that over and over and over again. And yeah, I mean, that's literally all I have to say about it.
It's frustrating too. I don't mean to cut you off, but just
No,
because
you're right.
like, you know, we talked last week about Daredevil Born Again season 2, and it's like you could just continue this character's story and his arc in the events of Born Again season 2. See how, you know, I mean, we see he's locked up in the cage from Wilson Fisk at the end of season 1. He breaks out, and it's like you would think he'd be hell-bent on revenge, and obviously everything in season 2 is kind of coming to a boiling point, and you'd rather see that instead of what sounds like is just the same recycled storylines and scenes that we get over and over again.
Yes. Like, I will say, yeah, the story is recycled and not that interesting, but just to give it some props, the violence is fucking cool in this. Like, besides that one shot, that's the only thing that doesn't look good. The rest of it, you know, there's parts of people on fire and people getting their heads blown off and fucking, you know, him slicing people up and hitting them with bats and all this cool stuff. And if you want Punisher gore, One Last Kill is for you. Like, it looks cool. And there's a lot of gore, a lot of violence, which is cool. And Jon Bernthal's passion for this character really shows. He wrote it. He wrote the whole thing, which is like, maybe that's why the story's not great. I don't know. Like, I don't know, but he's great in it. I don't know. You know, he's maybe not the greatest writer, but he's great in it as the actor and as Frank Castle. And you know, that's never lost in this story. It's his emotional performance is always there. I mean, he's always got that visceral scream, you know, that he does, and he does that probably fucking 10 times in the whole thing. But yeah, just really great acting and really great violence and everything you want from Punisher. Just not very captivating story, and that's kind of a shame because he was really interested in Born Again, and he seems like I'm like interested to see what he's doing in Spider-Man, and you know, it doesn't really seem like we're getting that connection.
Well, two things. One is a comment, the other is a question. The comment being like, it's a shame because this is only the second special presentation that we've gotten from Marvel. The first one was Werewolf by Night, which was really cool because it kind of showed a different side of the MCU, this ability to tell different stories with different tones, a la what the DCU is doing right now. And you would hope for maybe more of that. So it is kind of a shame to hear that it doesn't really hold up in comparison to that or to Daredevil. And my question is, speaking of this tonal difference, are you at all concerned for how this version of the Punisher is going to translate into Spider-Man, given it's such a stark tonal difference? And yes, I know that they have teamed up a bunch in the comics, but this is a very specific dark version that we have come to know. Is it going to feel weird, or are you concerned at all about it feeling weird, at least when they first introduced their partnership in the movie?
Yeah, it's gonna feel weird because, like, we see in the trailer, he's about to say fuck. He's like, and then he gets webbed in the mouth, and that's funny. But how often are you gonna have Spider-Man stop him from cursing and stop him from killing people, right? Like, Daredevil is different because he reluctantly works with Frank when he kills people because Daredevil's been through, like, it's like life or death for Daredevil, but because Spider-Man is so powerful, he can stop Punisher from killing people and still beat the bad guys. And it's like, that just sounds boring to me, you know? Like, oh, now we have a dilemma of Punisher kills people and this hero doesn't. Like, we've seen that with Daredevil. And, you know, he still is like, whatever. Yeah, I think it's going to feel a little weird. I just don't know how they're going to. Someone worded it really well in an interviewer. I don't remember who it was, but is this Punisher from Brand New Day going to feel like the same Punisher who walks off the One Last Kill set? And I don't think so, but they say it is. They're going to say, Jon Bernthal said, it's like he walked right off One Last Kill and then right onto Brand New Day. It's the same guy. Sure, we'll see. But I don't know if they're going to match it up. Maybe his screen time's really limited, though. Maybe we're not going to notice.
Right, but in that case, it's even more frustrating because you're stuffing Spider-Man Brand New Day with all these story arcs that are going on, all these new characters that you're introducing or returning characters that are going to be in there. Like, we even talked about that when the trailer came out. We're like, yeah, this looks like it could be a really good movie, but admittedly, it looks like a lot is going on. So why take away Frank Castle and Punisher from a story in Daredevil that he is very, very much involved in a setting and tone that fits this version of the character, just to pluck them into Spider-Man to say, hey, remember in the comics when Spidey and Punisher teamed up? Now they team up here. It's like, is that really worth taking them away from the good storytelling and the good character work that we saw when in the Daredevil universe in that show? I'm not sure. I guess we'll see.
Like, one last thing I'll say is, I don't. Oh fuck! What was I gonna say? Oh, fuck! It was my last thing. Wait,
it was your last kill.
It was my last kill. Wait, give me a second. The Punisher, Spider-Man, the Punisher, Daredevil. Yes. At the end of Daredevil Born Again Season 1, the literal, like, the end credit scene is the Punisher escaping Kingpin, and he escapes the cages. And there's a lot of other people caged up in there, and he breaks the guy's arm, and he escapes. And he never comes back for those people. You know, and that's very out of character. He doesn't come back for revenge against the guy who fucking captured him and kidnapped him for probably a couple hours to a couple days. He never comes back for the anti-vigilante task force who have his symbol on him and are ruining the Punisher ideology. He never comes back for revenge. So the question was always, he's too busy. Then one last kill shows up and he's just fucking sitting there doing nothing for the first 20 minutes, hallucinating, getting schizophrenia all over the fucking screen, dude. Like, it makes his ending in Born Again Season 1 so out of character. Why would he not rescue all those people that were captured? Why would he not tell anybody to go rescue them? Why would he not go find Matt and be like, yo, that's where they are? It's just weird, right?
I agree. Does Punisher do they make it clear when Punisher One Last Kill takes place, like, in relation to Daredevil?
There's nothing timeline-wise, like, there's no mention of Kingpin or the Avengers or anything outside of Frank Castle. So I actually don't know.
Isn't Karen Page in it, though?
She's a hallucination. He hallucinates her for like a minute and that's it. Yeah, I don't know when it takes place. I mean, just because they don't establish it, I would assume after. Yeah, you know why? Because of the way it ends, it's 100% after Born Again Season 2. No, it's 100% after Born Again Season 1. It could be happening during Season 2. But again, the first 20 minutes is him in his apartment, sitting on like a bucket and like doing nothing and hallucinating. So in that time, he probably could have gone back and rescued some people. So I don't know. It does do a lot of out of character things, but overall, it's fine. I ranked it in my Marvel list. It's like 20 something or out of like 30 something, so, or 40 something. So it's okay. It is what it is. Just a little disappointing.
Yeah, very much sounds like something that just kind of came and went.
It's just there. It's just there. Yeah, so that's all I got.
All right, well, why don't we swiftly move on to the final leg of this episode, which is our game for the day. We have time for a game this week. We're not overstuffing these episodes like Brand New Day with a billion things every week. So we're going to play a little game called Over Under, which we have played in the past. It's been a while. Basically, the way this will work is Jack and I are going to go back and forth, and we're going to name something, whether it's an actor, a movie, a genre, a concept, anything related to film and television and entertainment, and we're going to ask the other person if they think it is overrated, underrated, or properly rated. So, Jack, how do we decide who goes first?
I think we flip for it.
You know, I've neglected Willie quite often lately.
You haven't used your Willie in quite a while.
You know, I am going to flip my Willie real quick if anybody minds.
Yeah, for your audio listeners, you don't want to watch this.
Yeah, if you're on audio, you might want to mute it too, because I like to flip. I get very loud when I flip my Willie.
He does, that's true.
By the way, isn't it so hot today, Jack? Like,
dude,
we haven't talked about the weather at all. Fucking crazy. All right, I flipped it, but I haven't looked at it. Call it.
Heads.
Tails!
Whoa,
Woo-hoo!
Tails for the win.
Tails never fails.
All right, that means you're asking me or I'm asking you
when
first?
It does. I'm gonna ask you first, but I don't want to go like bang, bang, bang. I think we should go back and forth.
Yeah, I got you.
So I'm gonna go first. Is okay. Do you think box office numbers, not like me reading them, just in general, the amount of money that a movie makes, do you think it's overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
I think it's underrated to an extent. I'm going to say underrated until it reaches $1 billion, and then I think it's properly rated. I think people now, the $1 billion movie is like the standard for huge, huge movies. And if a movie doesn't hit $1 billion, people are like, oh, that movie's not good, or like, it didn't hit the goal. But then you have movies that, $20 million opening weekend for Obsession, and people would see the number 20 million and not think that that's good. So I think box office numbers are underrated as of now.
That's a good. I wasn't sure how you were gonna feel, or like what you would answer, but that's a good way of putting it. I think it very much just depends on the movie, because obviously, like you kind of said, different financial returns, different box office grosses, are different successes or failures depending on the kind of movie and the budget of the film. I think that it shouldn't matter in terms of like the artistic opinion of it, but it is a business and making money is important. So, all right. I like that.
Josh,
Jack.
Overrated, underrated, or properly rated, Tatooine's Binary Sunset.
Ooh. So like the actual, not like the music, like Binary Sunset, the actual
that the fact that they have two suns.
I mean, it is such a gorgeous scene in A New Hope there with the Binary Sunset with Luke looking over. I think for as much like high octane moments you get in Star Wars, this laid back moment is one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars. Is Luke kind of looking out, wanting to be more, wanting a future, looking out to the stars. I would say it's properly rated though, because I do think a lot of people feel the same way. I think that most people, like, Tatooine is obviously one of the most popular planets in Star Wars. It is the basis of some of the biggest events and characters, Anakin and Luke. And then the Binary Sunset, I think, is what gives it character, because in what is otherwise a desert planet.
Totally agree.
I would say it's properly rated because I don't think that people don't like. I think people feel that way. I don't think I'm the only one.
Yeah,
so.
Completely agree. It's responsible for like some great, gorgeous shots, and it's really just cool. It's cool. It's like, oh shit, there's two suns.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine if we had a Binary Sunset. I mean,
beautiful, man. Beautiful. We'd take it for granted, though.
We would. We'd be like, yo, imagine if we had 3 suns.
Yeah, we would do that. Shit, give me 4, bro.
I'll take 5. Okay, Jack. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated SpongeBob SquarePants?
The character or the show?
The show.
Oh, man. SpongeBob in its prime was peak, dude. I'm going to say properly rated. I think people underrate it now, but I'm kind of one of those people because I'm like, fuck modern SpongeBob. That show should not still be on. But I think people understand how peak classic SpongeBob was, and I think it's one of the most quotable shows in all of history my history. And it's just iconic. I'm gonna go properly rated. Gives us some great characters, and people recognize that.
Fair enough. I mean, I would say maybe a little overrated now, like now SpongeBob, although maybe not. I mean, people know it sucks, but like there's still so much SpongeBob content all over.
Yeah, there's
a
lot.
Prime SpongeBob will always somehow be underrated to me. Like that is, no matter how much we appreciate it, like some of the funniest content ever written.
Yeah, that's fair. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated, Los Angeles, California.
Oh, that's a good one. Overrated. I don't think it's a bad city by any means. You know what I mean? Like, I do love the whole Hollywood, the concept of, the kind of center of this, the eye of the storm, the center of the movie making industry. But what's so there's so many ways you could look about it. If we're talking the city itself, public transportation is like non-existent. It's a really rough place. There's beautiful beaches, I can't deny that. But like if we're going to look at this from a movie perspective, it is very expensive and nearly impossible to film in Los Angeles. And when you do, you're just doing it on a soundstage. The best movies are made on site. Whether that's like, you look at Dune, they film those movies in Jordan. You know what I mean? Or people go film in Vancouver, they film in Utah, they film in Atlanta, they film all over the world, which is, I think, more unique than just sitting on a soundstage in LA. So from a movie standpoint, overrated. And from a city standpoint, I guess properly rated, because there is a lot to do as a tourist. It is beautiful. The weather is great. The beaches are awesome. But the city it's not New York. Hell, I like Chicago more. So, I would say a little overrated.
Good answer. All right.
All right, Jack. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated DreamWorks animation?
Dude, underrated, man. I think DreamWorks kind of gets outshined by Pixar and Disney. But they got bangers, and people recognize a lot of the bangers. Like, people are going to look at Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon and, like, Kung Fu Panda. And that's kind of like the big three of DreamWorks as far as I can remember. But you got some sleepers in there. You got, like, Megamind and Madagascar and some other shit that I'm missing. But yeah, I'm going to go underrated. Plus, iconic intro. The Man on the Moon fishing. Iconic, dude.
Totally agree. Totally.
Overrated, underrated, or properly rated, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I would say properly rated. I think that, they have a strong, not huge, but strong fan base. There's been some, obviously the TMNT movie that came out a couple years ago was really good. The animated one, the live action ones from the 90s leave a little to be desired, kind of creepy. I wouldn't say that is like one of the most incredible franchises, but they're fun characters, and childhood nostalgia is tied to that, and they have a dedicated fan base. And so I'd say it's properly rated.
I think I would go underrated only because I am a huge fan of the Turts, So I would go underrated because I want to talk about them all the time. So that's fine.
This one's funny because of the Oscar host thing from before, but overrated, underrated, or properly rated Anne Hathaway.
I might piss people off. I think I'm gonna say overrated. I haven't really seen a lot of her performances. I know her from The Dark Knight Rises and Interstellar and now like Mother Mary. That's kind of it. Maybe a couple other things sprinkled in there, but nothing like really insanely stand out. And I'm sure she's incredible, right? Like I've seen clips of whatever, like I'm sure she's great, but I think that for me personally, I'm going to go overrated just because I haven't seen enough of her and I'm not really too interested in seeing more of her. She's just kind of there. She's gorgeous and she's a great actress. And like, I would be open to seeing her do more stuff, but, it's just not something that really interests me.
She's very charismatic too. Like she is very like alluring,
Yeah,
like,
see, I haven't seen like interviews with her. I haven't really been seeing her do anything really. And that's on me. It's not on her.
Right. I mean, I don't think she has the best filmography necessarily in terms of showcasing her talent, but then in those spurts you do. I mean, Interstellar, her performance is one of my favorite, ever. So
yeah,
fair enough.
Overrated, underrated, or properly rated, describing things as peak. Do you like calling things peak?
That's peak, Jack. That was a peak choice. I'm gonna say underrated. I feel like it's such a good way of describing when because when let's boil it down, man. Like why do we call it peak? Because it's at the top. It is the best.
I love that shit.
At the peak of the mountain. And we all say it, but I say it's underrated in the sense that even by me, I never really sat to appreciate it. But since you're asking me,
it's like clever.
It is clever.
That's
it's just Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen whoever came up with it slang. But it is peak. Like something is just like it is at the top of its game, at the top of its craft, the peak of the mountain. It doesn't get better than that. You can't get higher than it. So I think that is a fun way to describe stuff.
I need at least one stupid one in here, so.
No, man, that wasn't stupid. It was peak.
That's fucking peak.
All right, Jack. Underrated, overrated, properly rated. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, man. That's a bad movie. But it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm going to say underrated, man. It's still Indiana Jones. Listen, bad movie, yes, but people think it's like the worst dog shit you've ever seen. Does it look like actual shit? Yes. Like, it does look like shit. The CGI is terrible. Shia LaBeouf swinging from, whatever, with monkeys. The alien stuff, stupid. But Harrison Ford is great in that, especially his reunion with, I don't remember her name, Mary, the wife, whatever, his girl.
I think it's Karen Allen, right?
Yeah, Karen Allen, but I can't remember it's Mary, something like that.
This is the Elsa thing that you got on.
I know,
all
whatever.
over. You can't remember the women of Indiana Jones for your life.
I can't. I remember the Shia LaBeouf's name is Mutt Williams. Fucking Mutt. But anyway, I'm going to go underrated.
Whoa.
That sounded bad. I'm going to go underrated. I do think people give it, and people hate the nuclear bomb scene when he gets in the fridge, and I think that scene is awesome. So I'm gonna say underrated.
I think it's not a great movie, but it's fun. It's just a really fun movie.
Dude.
And I think you and I both agreed on this, and we got shit for it when we said we like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull more than Jurassic Park 2, Lost Temple.
We
Lost
do.
World,
Yes, Lost World is the worst Spielberg movie because we said Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a little better. Dude, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull has the motorcycle chase scene where he slides it under the tables at the library. Do you remember that?
I do.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
It looked great.
Yeah, people. What's so fun about Lost World, man? Tell me, like, what is?
Yeah,
so
the
fun
girl
about
does
that?
gymnastics and kicks a velociraptor.
Yeah,
that was dumb as shit.
Stupid, fucking Malcolm, fucking yawning in that one cut. I guess, like,
yeah, whatever, dude.
All right,
yeah, underrated. This one is interesting. I might have to describe to you what this is, but overrated, underrated, or properly rated superhero legacy characters. Do you know what that is?
Give me a description.
Like, a legacy character is someone who takes over another character's like name. So like Robins. There's like 4 Robins. Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man. Wally West becomes Flash. Kid Flash to Flash.
Captain America
becomes Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So the legacy character is the one becoming. So like Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes are both legacy characters because they both become Captain America.
I get what you're saying. Gosh, this might be the first one I don't really have an opinion on.
We'll form one fast.
There's Mr. Met.
He could be a legacy character if he becomes Mrs. Met. Something, I don't know.
Jeez. Mr. Met transitioning? Okay.
Maybe.
I guess it's like properly rated, I guess. I mean, like, it depends on the story, obviously. Like, does it make sense for this character to take over the mantle? Is this a mantle that makes sense for someone to take over in the first place? Or should it die with the character? So, like, it really comes down to this individual one, like, certain... Like, I would have to really boil it down to be like, do I think this Robin is overrated, underrated? Do I think that this Captain America is overrated, underrated? But in a general umbrella, I would say it's properly rated. It's an interesting story technique to use in the comics, to translate to the films. It just has to make sense for the character who's taking over the mantle, and it has to make sense for the mantle itself.
That's a great answer. I think most of the time it works, but some of them I don't like. Like, I've never liked that Miles Morales is Spider-Man. I've always wanted him to have a different name because, I mean, now we know him as Spider-Man, so it's different. But when I first heard about him, I was like, he should have a different name. Like, Spider-Man 2099 is Spider-Man 2099. But when people say, oh, I love Spider-Man, now you have to go, which one? You know, but if you say, I love Captain America, you know you're talking about Steve Rogers. Nobody refers to the Falcon as Captain America initially. You'll say, I love Sam Wilson. You know what I mean?
In all fairness,
it's a little confusing.
I get what you're saying, but in all fairness, when people say I love Spider-Man, they're most likely talking about Peter Parker because people usually refer to Miles Morales as Miles Morales.
That's true. That is like the Kate Bishop thing. Nobody refers to her as Hawkeye originally. Like,
right.
She becomes Hawkeye, but she's still Kate Bishop.
So, I mean, I see your point. I don't even totally disagree. I just think that when someone says that, they're saying Peter Parker most likely.
That's a good answer, though.
All right, this one is a little interesting because it's been a couple months. So, is it overrated, underrated, or properly rated? Michael B. Jordan's Oscar win for Sinners. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
The fact that he won?
That him winning that award, was it an overrated win? Was it an underrated win? Or has it been a properly rated win?
It's tough because it really depends on what side of the internet you're on. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Depends who you voted for.
Yeah. I'm going to say properly rated based on what I see in my life. But on the internet, I do see rare comments that are like, he didn't deserve it, you know? And like, Leo should have gotten it. And even to this day, it's like, Leo or Timothy was snubbed. I see that a lot. So I do think maybe if you're on certain sectors of the internet, you'll say it's a little underrated because people kind of shit on him for winning. But
right, I've seen people say like, "Oh, he was the worst in the category." You know,
I haven't seen that like extreme really, but where I usually find myself, I think it's properly rated.
Fair enough. No, I've definitely seen it where people are like, not only do they say Timothy should have won, Leo should have won, but people are like, he was the worst in the category.
Wow, I've seen people say Sinners was the worst movie of the year, but like I've never seen them specifically call out Michael B. Jordan.
I have, so you know.
Wow,
but I'm inclined to agree with you.
Okay, we got a couple left. Overrated, underrated, properly rated. Gary Oldman as Sirius Black.
Oh, dude. I would say maybe slightly underrated, like slightly.
I think so too.
I think he is one of the best, like, I think he makes Sirius Black one of the best characters in the films. You know, I think it's one of his defining roles in what's been a very long career. And I think a big reason why you see this big shift from the first two Harry Potter movies to Prisoner of Azkaban in terms of just both tone and also quality. Yes, Alfonso Cuarón, but Sirius Black and his storyline and his relation to Harry Potter really elevates from this kind of like childlike feel from the first two films to, you know, really hitting the ground running in Prisoner of Azkaban. So I would say, I mean, people love him. There's a lot of talk about him. I wouldn't say it's like significantly underrated, but a little for sure.
I think a lot of people love Sirius Black, and that's my favorite character of all of Harry Potter. But I don't think people really talk about Gary Oldman's performance as him. So I would say underrated also. That's good.
I like that. I don't know if I've done this one before, but it's been a while, and I don't give a shit because it's what I have written down. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated Saturday Night Live.
I think I did this one for you.
Maybe you did. But
I
now
think
I'm
I
flip it back to you.
Ooh. Listen, I love Saturday Night Live, but I'm gonna say a little overrated. I think there hasn't really been much standout to me recently of like just sketches. Like there are standout like performers and performances and characters. But the sketches most of the time are, to me at least, kind of just eh. And that is a shame because like peak Saturday Night Live, like early 2000s, late 90s, like that. That was like, yeah, that was definitely probably underrated. But I'm going to say a little overrated. It's not something that I'm like really into these days.
I would say properly rated because I think that people feel that way, and I think it's known that people feel that way about it. And the only reason I would say if it ever dips to underrated is because Saturday Night Live is still producing the comedians that shape a generation. And even like this past year, like Ashley Padilla is going to be a star. Like,
that's exactly who I thought about when I said great performers.
She is going to go on to do some incredible stuff in her career. She's hilarious. And it's the fact that every generation it continues to do that.
Yeah.
So interesting. Okay.
And I do like the new what's it called? They're not the cast, they're the
featured
people.
players.
The new featured players are fucking phenomenal this year. I mean, Jeremy Cole Haynes, Tucker Carlson's hilarious.
He has that Mr. Blast thing that he does on
Mr.
Weekend
Blast,
Update, which
that
is
was on
so
the last
stupid,
episode?
but it's so funny.
Him and Ashley Petty are great. They're so good.
I agree.
And yeah. Okay.
Three more. I have 3 more. You have 4.
I have 4. Okay. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated Seth Rogen's work with Amazon Prime Video.
Okay, so that's Invincible,
his
The Boys. I feel like I am missing something. I mean, the studio's Apple TV.
Else.
The studio's Apple TV, but you got Invincible, The Boys. It really does feel like there's something else. But anyway.
Well, you answer, I Google.
I would say properly rated. I think that, and we'll talk more about The Boys specifically, next week. We already talked specifically about Invincible, so I'm not going to get into each specific show. But he has done some incredible work as a producer, and not even just with Amazon Prime, with Disney reviving The Muppet Show for that special, with Apple TV, with the studio. Him and Evan Goldberg have done some really tremendous stuff. And I think he has such a feel for that side of the camera, and he has created like the last 5 to 7 years in a way reshaped the way the public can look at superhero content, specifically
Agreed.
with Amazon Prime, and bending it in different satirical ways, different narrative choices. He is a much better entertainer than people, I think, give him credit for. And not only do we see that in his comedic performances on screen, but we see it play out in the producer's chair off screen. And so I would say underrated.
We forgot the biggest one. It's The Boys, Invincible, and Sausage Party Foodtopia.
Oh.
That was your favorite show of last year.
Cultural setting stuff right
Facts.
there.
Facts.
All right, into my final 3, Jack. Overrated, underrated, properly rated. The threat of AI.
Properly rated. It really depends who you ask. I mean, that's like all this shit, but
wow,
it's like
really?
Literally everything on earth depends who you ask. But I think, what's crazy? I was just at a Yankee game yesterday, and they were doing this thing on the Jumbotron. Like, you scan the QR code and you submit a photo of yourself, and they're like, Yankee special photo editor. And it was like Cat or like Garfield edition. And on the Jumbotron, it was, you took a photo of yourself, it showed you on the left and an AI cat of you on the right. And it was like Yankee photo editor, and it was not fucking Yankee art. Or it was like Yankee artwork editor. It was not art. It was so totally AI slop. And I do think that big corporations like that are just oblivious, or maybe not oblivious. They just don't give a fuck about the threat of AI. But I think the people do. And I think that's why I say properly rated.
That's fair. I would say underrated just because I mean, people obviously talk about it all the time, but like, people are losing their jobs to this because it's not that corporations are blind to it. They know, they just don't care because it's cheaper solutions. It's consolidation. They're trying to raise their profits.
They don't give a fuck.
So they use AI. They think it can replace the human element in creative artwork and writing and television and whatever. So I think it's really not, I mean, as emphasized as it is, it should be, the point should be driven home even further that like they're trying to use AI to replace people, and it's only going to result in slop and in a worse place. It's like the idea of like minimalism kind of replacing different logos, and like we are losing the wackiness of life.
Spotify just did against the
right, and then everyone
logo.
was like shitting on it because they did the disco logo, and like, all right, we're changing it back, and it's like, well, where's the fun anymore, man? Like, where is the fun?
Overrated, underrated, or properly rated. The hot food at AMC theaters. You ever get hot food?
Oh man, I would say overrated. I don't like eating that shit at a movie theater. I'm gonna miss half the movie shit in my pants. It's a movie theater, man. I like to sit down with some popcorn and some candy and a soda. Or, I mean, I don't really drink soda anymore, but like the typical stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all for it. You can get whatever you want, but I don't usually ever indulge. Like, I cannot see that being good, and I just like, I'm a traditionalist in this specific sense. Popcorn, candy, soda, water, whatever, like that is movie theater food.
It's expensive too, man. And also, you don't want to wait for it. I know you could order ahead now, but it's like whatever.
Yeah, they have it where like the AMC workers can come like deliver it to you. Like
not at my AMC, but I've seen that at one of the AMCs on Long Island. They do that. Like you order it at the counter and you tell them your seat and they bring it to you.
Yeah.
Dude, the popcorn like makes me sick nowadays, so I can't even eat the popcorn anymore. It sucks. I literally have
feel
water.
Like everything makes you sick.
No, dude, Taco Bell does not make me sick. But the
We're
popcorn,
not sponsored.
The popcorn doesn't even make me sick. Like it brings me actual pain, which sucks. Sorry, AMC. Obviously, you're watching. Like it literally, I'll eat it and it hurts to eat after like an hour and a half. So like most the way through the movie, I'm like, oh fuck. So that sucks. I usually eat candy now and water.
Oh man, bring your own popcorn from home.
Gosh, one time I brought a Chick-fil-A sandwich and I did not get caught.
All right, last two. Overrated, underrated, properly rated video game adaptations, like video game to film adaptations.
There's so many bad ones, but there's some peak ones too. I'm gonna say overrated. I love Sonic. I love the Mario movies, but that's kind of it. I mean, The Last of Us fell off, and people love that. The Last of Us fell off. What else is there? Uncharted was ass, but people were like, "Oh, it made a lot." I love the games. I don't know. I don't think they're really doing most games justice, but I think people are still going to see it because of the IP. So I think that I'm just going to say it's overrated.
Okay. All right.
Overrated, underrated, or properly rated. Opening credits for movies as opposed to ending credits.
Oh, underrated. Absolutely underrated. I think you can get really creative with your opening credits, and the biggest example that comes to mind is James Bond. The James Bond opening credits are some of the most visually striking opening credits that you'll ever watch. They're always unique. They're always really like just stunning and different and exciting. Yeah, man, it just kind of builds up the like opening credits really build up this suspense getting into the film, like, what, especially if there's like an opening scene that goes into the credits, you know what I mean? I just
agree.
I just love, like, I saw this post today, like the opening credits to Casino, the Martin Scorsese film, is like the car exploding and you just see like De Niro like kind of flying in slow-mo, and it's like a Marty Scorsese picture, Robert De Niro in Casino, and it's like, man, like that is so cool. It's really memorable leading into the title card instead of just plopping it on a black screen at the end. So underrated.
I agree. I think of like you can always think of examples if someone's like opening credits. Like I think of Deadpool, the first movie, when it's the car chase scene, and it's like kind of like that where they're like everyone's flying in the air, and also they're funny. It's like presented by a dipshit director and like starring the world's most handsome idiot. Like you could be really creative. So you're right. I'll give you that.
Alrighty. My last one. We have reached the end of my line. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated. The state of superhero films in 2026. So where are the genres at? Is it overrated? Are superhero films overrated? Are they underrated? Are they properly rated?
Superhero films in 2026 are underrated. Okay? 2025 was a good year for superhero films. 2026 is going to be even better, dude. We are getting Avengers Doomsday. We are getting Supergirl. We are getting Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're getting Clayface. Is Clayface coming out this year? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 2025, we got Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four and Superman. Dude, I think that it is very underrated and people have superhero fatigue. Sure, but it's really just bad movie fatigue, and they're not showing up to see the movies that are actually good because of that. Superman should not have just been a $600 million movie or whatever it was. Superman should have been $1 billion movie. But people have seen shitty Superman movies in the past, so, it is what it is. I think it's underrated.
You're not gonna like my answer.
I know, but you're a fucking hater, dude.
No, that's not true. I love Superman. I thought it was a great movie. I think that they are, as a collective, a bit overrated.
In 2026?
Like, yeah, at this point in time, I think in just the sense that, like, it's kind of like the meme of like the backpack, like with the string, and it's like, let it go, bro. I'm not saying actually like
but
those
they're
superhero
good.
movies. But I think that this idea that superhero, like, if you look at the Infinity War, Endgame, Logan era, like, superhero movies was dominating the cultural conversation. That's not the
Yes.
case anymore, and I think that's because people are just kind of over it. And I don't
That's why I say it's underrated, because they're over it.
But I don't think that the movies that are coming out are still the defining, like, I don't think these superhero films are the defining films of the year. I think they seem to me to be less creative as a whole. There are individual examples. Thunderbolts was a good movie. Was it really one of the defining films of 2026 the same way Infinity War and Endgame and Logan were in 2017 and 2018 and 2019? No, I think that superhero movies, and it's not like because the genre is not a fun genre. I think it's like you said, the people within the genre have grown a little stale, and public perception moves on. The audience is ready for new types of storytelling methods. We see the rise in horror in the last few years. We've seen in the past, it used to be Westerns at one point. Like, it's just the natural ebbs and flows of audience engagement. So I think this idea that, like, people are showing up, like, and I think it's reflected in the fact that Marvel movies aren't making as much money anymore. They're still good movies, but this idea that I'm not talking about the movies individually as much as I am just the superhero genre as a collective in the dominance of the cultural conversation is a bit overrated at this point, because I just don't think that's where the needle is at.
I don't agree with your argument, because I don't think it's ever been the individual movies that have been the defining films of that year. Like, you use Thunderbolts as an example against Endgame, Infinity War, and Logan, which was a finale. Logan was the finale of 20 years worth of movies. So, like, those are so different to compare. Like, you use Thunderbolts against Captain America: The First Avenger, or Thor: The Dark World, or even Thor: Ragnarok, a great movie, but that didn't define 2017, Like, I think superhero movies have always been that, but in some people's heads, it's like, it's no Infinity War. Maybe Doomsday is no Infinity War, sure. But, like, Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts and, like, Superman aren't going to compare to those movies just by the nature of the movie itself.
But even if you want to say, like, Thunderbolts versus Guardians, right? Like, which one had the bigger cultural impact? I would say it was Guardians of the Galaxy.
But the first Guardians... But there's two more movies after that. I think, like, Guardians...
I'm talking about the first one when it came out in 2014. It was a pretty big deal, and everyone loved it, and obviously the characters grew.
I mean, it is
in a way that
movie.
you don't feel that Thunderbolts is going to. Like, I'm again, it's not a matter of if the individual movies are good or not. I mean, some are, some aren't, but I just think that public perception is a little tired. And saying, well, I don't think they need to go see a movie just because it's a Marvel movie, in the same way that era that I'm referencing, it was like, Marvel is the big thing. This is, this is this is peak, to kind of make light of.
Peak,
this is fucking peak. I just don't think that is how people feel. And sometimes, and Marvel has to learn that and adjust and say, we're not the top dogs at the moment like we were 8-9 years ago. Like, it's reflecting in their box office returns, and it's reflecting in public perception of most of the films, that people just don't seem to care quite as much anymore. Of course, you still have the fandom. There's still millions of people all around the world who care. I am not arguing otherwise. I'm just saying that I think that as a general collective, as the, like, kind of dominant genre or subgenre of culture, it is not the same that it was a decade or half a decade ago.
So you'd say it's properly rated then?
I would say
because you agree with them that
it depends. It depends on who you ask, because there are still people who treat it as such.
Yeah,
and I think Marvel still thinks that they are, so they're overrating themselves.
Because there's like huge hype for Doomsday and Spider-Man, but there are a lot of people who don't give a shit anymore. But how do you not give a shit about Spider-Man, dude? What are you, a psycho? What are you, a fucking psycho?
I give a shit about Spider-Man way more than Doomsday. I'll say that much.
Me too.
But I don't. I'm not like, oh my god, Spider-Man's gonna be my favorite movie of the year.
I'm like that.
Right, but that's because you have like you're like the Nikki and Bear when it comes to Spider-Man. Like, you're like,
yeah, I'd crack the one with Will and wish Spider-Man was obsessed with me.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do think that there is a little bit of, and I have it with some films I watch too. It's human, but the's a little bit of bias. You know what I mean?
For sure. All right, I got one more, and then we'll end off this episode. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated the 2-week Minecraft phase with your buddies.
Oh, dude, I would say properly rated. I mean, just in the sense that like everyone knows that is such a good time of life,
It's a
and
great
like
time.
it doesn't always hit. And the worst thing is when it hits with let's say you are like, oh, it's hit me. I'm ready for the 2-week Minecraft phase, and I'm like not at there at
You're
the same
waiting.
moment.
You gotta wait.
It needs to match up.
Yeah.
But when it hits and you're doing that, it is fucking. It's like sex. It's better than sex, dude.
It's like sex with your boys in blocks, dude.
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't even know how to respond. That's basically what it is. Sex with your boys in blocks, dude.
Yeah.
No, properly rated.
Facts. All right, good. Okay, that's overrated, underrated. That's over under. But you guys should comment stuff and let us, give us stuff that maybe we could talk about, overrated, underrated, properly rated. Ask us some questions. We'd be asking our questions all day. All goddamn day, all right? You guys could ask us some questions, maybe. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man, what is this? Just a 2-person podcast? What the fuck? Come on.
We're the only ones on this podcast? Come on, guys.
Yeah,
so if you guys have anything you want us to see if it's properly overrated, properly rated, then let us know.
And even the things we brought up, let us know what you think, if they are overrated, underrated, properly rated.
True,
because LA or
I'm sure we're just
adaptations
so wrong. I'm sure we're just so wrong.
We always are, Jack.
According to most people, we're always
they make us known that we are always wrong about everything, and we should just fucking die.
Yeah. Yeah, true. That's what they say.
All right, let's move on to Seesaw. I went first for over under, Jack. Why don't you take it away?
Something I saw was Green Book. I watched it in the car on the way to the Yankee game and on the way back, but great movie, dude. Great movie. I saw that you don't like it as much as I do. That's fine. I gave it 4.5 on Letterboxd. I loved it. Mahershala Ali, we were robbed of your blade, man. He can fucking act. And Viggo Mortensen, after watching Lord of the Rings, he's like a totally different person with his New York Bronx accent. It's crazy in that movie. But I loved it. I was very surprised that you didn't love it as much.
I don't think we have enough time for me to get into my issues with this movie, but I do consider that one of the weakest Best Picture winners pretty much ever.
Wow. Okay. In your video, you did say that the last 10
in the TikTok video, out of the last 10, it was number 10.
I know. And then something I want to see, I think it's today or tomorrow, Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is coming out.
That's such a Jack fucking
I want to see it on my TV while I'm playing it, dude. It's coming out. If you pre-ordered the deluxe version or like the hero version or whatever it is, the most expensive version, you get 3 days early. And I think it comes out in 3 days. So if you have done that, you get it today. And I think I might be doing that tonight. So I'm very excited. It looks like, have you ever played the Arkham games?
A little bit.
They are sparingly incredible, and it's like the Lego version of the Arkham games, and I just cannot wait. This could be the best Lego game ever. I'm very excited.
Cool. All right, something I saw recently. Actually, speaking of SNL, before I watched the Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney season 51 finale. Mostly because Paul McCartney, my favorite musician of all time, and it was a really good episode. I love the way they used Paul in a sketch and they utilized him in the monologue. Will Ferrell had Chad Smith in the beginning, who is the drummer for Red Hot Chili Peppers, in the whole ongoing bit where they look alike.
He usually hates that too. Have you ever seen
Chad Smith or Will Ferrell?
Chad Smith. Like I remember him at like a concert or something, and someone screamed out, Will Ferrell, and he fucking lost it.
Yeah, but I think he's like eventually kind of bought into it. And also, he ended up getting to perform on the drums for Paul McCartney during the musical act. So like, it was a trade-off. But like, I know when we announced the final 3 pairings of the host and musical guests, I remember I saw Ferrell and McCartney, and I was like, that is going to be a special episode, and it was. Even if SNL is not what you always, think of these days, that's fair, but it doesn't get much better than Will Ferrell as the host and Sir Paul McCartney as the musical guest. And something I want to see, speaking of Best Picture winners in the past, is I would love to rewatch Moonlight soon. This was something I talked about a bit in my, aforementioned TikTok video, where the Moonlight was the Best Picture winner in 2016, where it controversially beat out La La Land and the whole Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway mishap on stage, where they read the wrong winner. And I I said this in the video, I just was not emotionally like mature enough at the time to handle the complex themes of this film. And I think on a rewatch, it would sit a lot better with me. Speaking of Mahershala Ali, he's so great in that film. We really were robbed of his blade. I do totally agree with that. And yeah, man, I just think that, again, I was 16, now I'm 26. I think it is time to revisit this film to see how in the last 10 years it has aged as a Best Picture winner, especially against La La Land, which is one of my favorite films of all time. So that is something I am planning on doing very soon.
It's probably aged better than us in the last 10 years.
Ugh. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I look like I'm fucking melting. I'm sitting on this fucking wooden chair. My ass is killing me right now.
People heard you just say you're 26, and they were like, no fucking way.
I know. They're like, I could have sworn he was like 56, dude.
It's like there's a 56-year-old and a 13-year-old here talking to each other. It's like, put you on the list, dude.
Dude, holy shit. I promise I'm not on any list or any island or anything.
People find out that I'm older than you, they lose their shit, dude.
Dude, don't even go down that road. Don't even.
Okay. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Make sure you follow us on all our socials. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Box Office Dynasty. Follow us, like our shit, share with your friends. We're on Letterboxd at Jack Maloney, at Josh Omasho. Check us out. Any parting words, brother?
Comment more Film Bible numbers. In 2 weeks, we are going to review Kiss of the Spider Woman. So please send more our way. We are going to probably get to all of them at some point. Either that or the sun will explode first and we all die. So whichever one comes first. But yeah, that's all. Oh, and last thing, Jack, isn't it so fucking hot out, dude?
It's hot as shit.
So hot. Thanks for tuning in, guys.